Well, hey, everybody. My name is Joe. I'm the host of the Fixate Binge Podcast. I'm welcoming you back to part two of this two-part podcast with my guests, GG HAWKINS, who's a writer and a director, and also an actress and a writer, Madison Lanesey. They are discussing their wonderful film that they made together, I Really Love My Husband. It's been out now to purchase on video on demand on Apple TV Plus rather, and Amazon Prime. It's been out now for a whole week. What do you mean you haven't rented it or bought it? It's worth buying. I urge you to add this to your digital collection. Great film, shot in a very exotic, wonderful location in Panama. Tropical setting, wonderful acting, great direction. But of course, if you've listened to part one of this two-part podcast, you already know that from listening to my wonderful guests. So don't delay catching part one so that you're not confused with part two. If you missed last week's episode, it's not too late. Press pause, go back, grab part one, and then carry on and listen to this, the second part of that two-part podcast of the Fixate and Binge podcast. Now, I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to let the podcast interview continue as it was when we originally recorded this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being supporters of indie filmmaking. They need our support. They need our love. They need a lot of our belief. Indie filmmaking, and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but indie filmmaking is the last, I'm convinced of this, it's the last frontier of truly original storytelling when it comes to cinema. So I urge you to support it however you can. And that is what I'm trying to do with this podcast. Again, I'm going to shut up. My guests are fantastic. Let me take it back to the podcast that I made with them. Have a good one. This is a question for you, Madison, and for you, Gigi. I guess both of you, since you both wrote this. So your character's frustration with herself and with her husband, Drew, played by Travis, was just great in this. It really does feel universal. And this is for you mostly, Gigi. Did writing her give you any new perspectives on what people expect from marriage or long-term love? I mean, do either one of you come away from this film with a different perspective on love and what you expect from it? And by the way, if that's too personal, I'm not suggesting you ladies are out on the hunt for love. I'm not saying that, but if
you
nothing,
just want to be loved.
Yeah, I just want to be loved. Is that so wrong? This isn't a very good question. I'll leave it in
That's
because.
a great question.
Is it? Okay.
Question. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gigi.
I mean, I got married 2 months ago, but I was in like a long-term relationship.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Madison was there. She was a bridesmaid.
A beautiful wedding.
Awesome.
We did good. When two directors are getting married, the production of the wedding is good.
I'll bet.
And also, like, we premiered our movie at South by, so Madison and I had a lot of experience, and our immediate team had a lot of experience, like, being the brides already. So it lets you be present. I think in previous relationships, or in my current relationship, I felt very safe, very emotionally safe, and like that it was a true partnership. But in previous relationships, like, every single one, I was like, well, I guess this is it. And I'll just settle. And so, of course, no relationship is perfect and it takes work, but to have a foundation of like, yeah, okay, sure. Like that's where I was mining. That's where I was mining from for this movie a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I can definitely speak to that, not as a lady, but yeah, I'd love to hear from you, Madison.
Yeah, I thought the film was creating the film was so expansive in that way, and I have expressed to Gigi it's like definitely changed my life. I feel like, I think because I think was building the character off of almost like a part of me that I felt like I needed to like confess or something like this. I've done this. Like this is, I've been bad. I've been wrong. And there's a scene where that Gigi wrote so beautifully where she's loses her ring and she is on the porch and she says, "I'm not good." And she's in tears and Drew in this moment is comforting her. And it like kind of almost makes me emotional thinking about it just because it's like in this moment she really does I think that she is bad because she is not feeling something that she thinks she's supposed to feel, and it is causing her to behave in ways that are not great always. They're not her highest self maybe, and then this person who she loves so deeply is the one to step in and take care of her, and so losing that is a huge loss. And that's why when a frustrated person who's watching is like, if you don't like this person so much, why don't you just leave them? It's like, because he's like healing the deepest wound that she has, which is that she's struggling to love herself. And I think I've been really hard on like a past version of myself who might have experienced something like that. And I almost think I was confessing something and then instead got back like a huge sense of self forgiveness and empathy for everyone who's like ever tried to do a relationship. There's such mirrors, you know, and every time we do one, we're looking in the mirror, and she's looking in the mirror all the time in the film, and it's so much of a metaphor for what being in a relationship is. So I think it definitely made me realize like we should all be kinder to ourselves and to each other and really not judge what happens when we look in that mirror.
That is beautiful. Every episode of this podcast, I close, and I'll do it on this one too. Every episode, I like to say something about your personal mental health. I like to say, I hope you're in a good space. I hope you're surrounding yourself with people who are good influences and good voices and just good, you know, vibes. I hope that's what we're doing because we beat ourselves up so much. We are hard on ourselves. And I say that from a personal experience. Mental health has been a struggle of mine most of my life. The other thing that you're talking about, see, I have two daughters. I have three kids. I have a son who's oldest. He's 21, and I have a 17-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old daughter. And holy cow, I mean, I don't know how to raise daughters. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to tell my girls, look, you know, our westernized beauty centric culture is going to tell you you need makeup to make up for what's not there. But the truth is you're beautiful just the way you've been made, just the way nature or God intended. If you want to wear makeup because it makes you feel better, then I understand, have fun. But believe me, just love who you are, love the skin you're in. And I don't know if I'm succeeding in that, but I feel that a lot of, I mean, if I were to create a backstory for Teresa, I would say your parents probably long married for ages, for donkey's years, for decades, but not particularly happy.
Mm.
And I think that's the way it is with a lot of us.
Yeah.
My mother was married 4 times. So when she was ready to pull the plug, she pulled it. But there are other instances where couples, they're just together. For richer or poorer, for better or worse, they're together. And sometimes the worse outweighs the better, but they're just together out of a sense of duty, social pressure, religious upbringing, whatever it may be, but not necessarily happy. And that's what I loved about I really love my husband, is that Teresa was willing to ask questions that would have been unthinkable for women to ask a generation or 2 generations or even 3 generations ago. I'm glad and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but I'm glad that we've developed as a society that gives women the right to say, hey, wait a minute, I have a seat at this table too. And I deserve to find out what my happiness is too. It isn't just in service to you or to the man. It's not. I know we grew up in a patriarchal society, but we have evolved. And I'm glad that we're at a place now, and I wish it could be better. I wish it was better for most people, but I'm glad in this film that that your film is saying this is okay to ask these questions and to go on this journey, which Teresa does go through. And even though it's clunky and the destination, I'm sorry, the journey is unpredictable and not exactly smooth. Was it Shakespeare said, the course of true love never did run smooth. So I have no question here. I'm just riffing, but I'll get off my soapbox. I'm so sorry, ladies.
I love
love
that.
that.
Honestly, you're right. And I just feel the need. You've inspired me to say about Teresa. Teresa is the bravest character on that screen in this movie. And we have never said that in an interview, but she is. She's, for all of the other stuff going on, she's extremely brave as a character. And
I
women
wish
should,
we had said that during all of our Q&As.
I know, I'm like, damn, why don't we start with this? And then we could have done the whole run.
You know,
Yes.
you need to have T-shirts made that say Team Teresa,
Yes.
Team
Yes.
Teresa, Team Drew. I'm gonna get one extra large. Sorry, diet starts Monday. I will get my own shirt, Team Teresa, because
Yeah.
you are fearless. But you're not flawless, right? I mean, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to say maybe this will inject, and I know I'm not spoiling it, but I know all of us in this call know what I'm referring to. Let's try this. Let's
Yeah.
try this thing. Let's try and put the jaws of life into this marriage. Maybe Drew wants this. Does he want
Yeah.
this adventure? It didn't really do what I thought it might do.
Right.
And that's okay, because at least you were willing to try. You were willing to work with him and to try something. And that is brave too, to put aside what you think might make you happy. What about what makes him happy? And that's love, is when you put someone else's needs before your own. That to me is love. So I guess that brings me to my next question here. The relationship between Teresa and Drew, it felt very real, but it also felt like a marriage that had been lived in. So learning that this was a delayed honeymoon, I was like, yeah, so the luster has worn off a little bit. You've probably seen the toilet seat left up a few times. He's taking out the trash, but you don't like the way he washes dishes, so you just do them yourself. You know, some of the domestic things that we learn about ourselves when the honeymoon is officially over, you've had those before the honeymoon even began. So I mean, that character, that character interaction with you and Drew, it just felt real. What a great actor! How did you and Travis Quentin Young work together to build that dynamic? Was there any workshopping, anything you did before your scenes?
Well, Gigi can speak to this. Travis was a late ad, so
Okay.
we had a last minute shakeup, and so him and I didn't have a ton of time.
Okay.
But we had a pivotal plane ride where we just had the best time talking to each other about everything. Like, we talked about relationships and love and our beliefs on the characters. And I think we had one rehearsal in LA that we did with like a friend who was an acting coach who worked Secret Island with us. And then the next time we saw each other was at the airport. And it was like, we were both like, what's this going to be like? And then it was like, by the end of the plane ride, I felt, like we were, like I had been married to him. We got so close so fast. And also, he's an incredible all of the actors were incredible. We lucked out, and we're all still friends, all four of us, and they helped make the experience what it was. And Gigi really fostered that by being so intentional with casting and taking her time and really selecting people who had chemistry together. Everybody did chemistry reads together before anyone was cast. And then in Panama, my favorite one of me and Travis always bring this up in interviews, but like, we would every night go into my bedroom and we'd go over the sides for the next day. And then, like, he's an actor reactor, and so am I. We're both like theater kid actor nerds, and so we would like do Meisner, and we would do like fun, like indulgent stuff. But we were like, yeah, we're here making this movie. Like, let's just try to like make it the best we can. And that just made it so fun to play off of him and act with him. Like, he's such a great scene partner, such a giving scene partner, very focused, is very much like, tell me what you need, like really great. And then obviously in conjunction with Gigi's direction and the freedom that she gives us to build that comfort with each other, and to also just make a film where the performances are what she prioritizes. A lot of directors will prioritize visual or tone, or they know the edit already, so they're like, I know you're thinking you want to do that, but I already know how it's cutting together. One compliment I'll give Gigi is that she really like prioritizes the actor's experience and that part of a screenplay. And I think that's one of her biggest superpowers as a director.
That is awesome. You're behind, I mean, thank you for that. You're watching all of this unfold on camera. What was your experience seeing this? I mean, as you're watching as a director, I mean, are you thinking, this is exactly what I wanted? This is what I envisioned? Or what's that
Um,
experience like for you seeing this?
well, first I did prioritize the chemistry over everything, and I think this is just like the best proof. The proof is in the pudding that
Mm,
like performance will make or break a film. And when it came to being on set, I knew how I thought things were going to cut together, and we did a lot of extensive rehearsals beforehand. So I knew what the scene needed to do for the movie to work. But then once you've done all that preparation and you know these things, that's when you have that flexibility to make discoveries on set. And you have to do it obviously in a like strategic, measured way. But I really believe that if like, first working with intuitive actors who are sort of showing up and already like operating from a place that makes sense, and then if I need to redirect or steer in a direction, being able to step in. But I saw my job on set is to make sure everyone is knows we're all on the same page. Then I would take the monitor and like actually get really far away from the performances so I could see if it was translating to the screen, because no matter how much fun we're having on set, if it doesn't translate to the screen, it doesn't matter and I'm failing my team. So that was really important to me. And it was actually my husband who told me this advice right before, because I was like, well, how will I know? How will I know? And I've directed a ton of sketches and shorts before, but he was just like, like get quiet yourself and just like have it in your gut, like have that gut feeling. And it was kind of the first time that I remember being aware of taking the time to slow down and be present for those moments, and then letting and then ultimately like I was like, I feel like we have it. I would be pretty like, I felt in my gut, I was like, I feel like this is really good. I hope we have it, because we don't have the ability to like bring all the footage. We had to
sure.
like bring all the footage back. Like it was a micro budget film, but like and I remember seeing the very first cut that the editor Christina O'Sullivan put together, and I saw it actually Thanksgiving, because we had just actually 2 years ago. Is it 2 years ago? We had just, it was the day after we wrapped the airplane scene, and then I had till Thanksgiving. Isn't that wild?
That is quite,
Um,
that's
and then
crazy.
I had a couple of weeks to like, relax. I didn't end up relaxing at all because I was dealing with other stuff, but the editor was putting together the first cut. And then over the Thanksgiving break, I was up in the Northern California and I got a cut of the movie and I watched it. And then I immediately watched it again. And I was like, oh my God, we have a movie. Like my instinct of I think we got it was true. And honestly, one thing that I think is really important for any director is knowing how to edit, because then when you're quieting yourself in that moment, when the actors are in front of the camera and there's a million people running around you and bugs eating you alive, if you're shooting in Panama, you kind of know how it will play, and then you can have that confidence moving forward. So yeah, that was how I did it.
Wow. That's fantastic. I mean, that's kind of it sounds like you put all these elements together, and then the fact that you had to take everything back with you from the location in Panama, and then just hope it all comes together. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith and a lot of hope. It's got to
Yeah.
be
The film gods are
reassuring.
watching out for our movie,
Yeah.
like in so many ways. It's kind of insane. I actually want to make a recommendation based
Yeah.
off of you talking about the sort of the mental health aspects of this. Recently, I came across a book by Oliver Berkman, who he wrote 4,000 Weeks, which is sort of like a self-help philosophy book that's really just like the anti-productivity book. It's how you have to sort of like come to terms with our finitude and how freeing that is. And he wrote this follow-up book called Meditations for Mortals, which I got ordered on my honeymoon. And I was like, I guess I'll learn to meditate. It's not a meditation book. It's basically like every day, 2 or 3 pages for 4 weeks that sort of ground you in the presence. And one of the things they talk about, or that he writes about, is indecision, and this, you talking about people being married and deciding not and just sticking it out. That is a choice too. And it's sort of circling back to the idea that Teresa is the bravest of all the characters. Like, I just think that people are so terrified to make that choice or to choose happiness at the end of the day. And reading this book has not only helped me like slow down in a lot of ways as I'm sort of entering this next chapter where this film is going to be out in the world, and I'm looking at how I want to exist with and create in a more like less stressful way, or also just kind of accept that it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like one of the more poignant chapters of like just accepting our humanity and how sometimes people don't make a choice, and that is a choice in itself.
I have to ask you, because I'd love to plug the book at the end of the podcast. What was the name of the author again? Arthur Berkman?
Oliver Berkman, I believe.
Oliver Berkman. How do you spell that last name? B U
You
Berkman with it with an E, Berkman, and it's Meditations for Mortals. I see
yeah.
it. Brilliant. I'm gonna plug it. I'm gonna plug it.
Very
That's
good.
great. That's fantastic. I might be picking that up myself. Ooh,
And it's easy because you're reading like 3 pages a day, and I'm like,
yeah.
I can
We-
manage this.
I can handle that. Yeah, our social media culture has conditioned me to actually have my attention for only 1 or 2 pages. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah.
um, I really really enjoyed all the twists and turns in the film. How do I ask this question without giving it away? Because how Teresa and Drew interact with Paz, um, a Bertolucci film or a Gaspar Noé film. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. They would have handled it. Oh, our job is to do this with it and make it this and make it this kind of, ugh. And your film didn't do that. Your film said, that's not the purpose of this. We're not making, I mean, we're not, this isn't Skinamax. We're trying to show, you're not interested in titillation. You're interested in telling a truth, and we don't need to see it. Our imaginative forces can fill in the blank, and they can. But you were more interested in the aftermath of
Mhm.
what happens when Paz is welcomed into our characters' lives while on this delayed honeymoon. Is there
Yeah.
anything you guys can talk about what that experience? I mean, how did you approach the writing of Paz and to shoot this sequence with that kind of sensitivity? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um, Madison, feel free to chime in. Well, it's funny because the short that we made right before, which Madison wrote and also starred in, called Yes, Daddy, like is half of it is a sex scene. So like we don't shy away from sex. And by the way,
Yeah.
in the trailer, it's spoiled that it's like they have a threesome.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll just couch it in that. Um, I feel I'm very sensitive to unwarranted sex scenes, unwarranted nudity. Like, unless it's serving a purpose for the story, it just like gets under my skin. And I also think it's sometimes more powerful not to show, or what you don't show and what you withhold, because the human mind is a powerful thing. So yeah, I think often less is more unless it's very like poignant to or ingrained to the story. And then as for like the introduction to Paz, the character is like partially inspired by my stepdad, who is an expat who lived on that very island for many, many years. And then once we brought Arta G on board, I was like, let's make this character even more Arta. So I think that's something you can do as a micro budget creator, is like, how do I put this even more in the voice of the people who I've cast to make them, you know, pop even more. Madison, do you want to speak to the experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely have the character of Paz came, I would say 100% from Gigi. Whereas I was more kind of in charge, not in charge, but I was handling Teresa because I was playing her. But so I had more input personally to Teresa's character. But what I will speak to is I do think this was more of an emotionally based story. I think again, Gigi and I have made things that are specifically about sex and the way sex plays out. And our short Yes Daddy is about sex, I would say, but it's about trauma in relation to sex. And it's humorous, but it's also reflecting how those things live in our bodies. To me, this story, and it can mean something different for everybody. I think to me, this story is more emotional, the emotional inner life of people and how they collide with each other. So that to me is what was prioritized, which I think is great. We're also shooting on a limited schedule, and we're being resourceful with our budget. So I think that we had to prioritize really what felt the most important. So I think like if perhaps we did have another week, it's like, sure, let's delve into like what this whole scene would look like. But I think that we were like the beats that need to be hit to get to the place where the film ends really don't include that scene being shown on camera necessarily. Doesn't mean we couldn't have included it. I'm sure we could have as well, and figured out a way to have that be story based. But I think Gigi was smartly prioritizing what scenes needed to be prioritized. And then to speak to Arta, I would say like Arta's character of Paz, I think all the characters are mirrors to each other, and Arta's like the most fun mirror we get to look in, because as an audience, there's such a relief. Every screening, there's such a relief when Arta's character comes onto the screen, because Drew and Teresa's dynamic is just so tense. So it's just so nice to get this other energy in there who is this full of life, really amazing natural comedic timing. Arta has like such divine comedic timing. It's amazing. And then also poignantly, my favorite line delivery in the entire film is where Paz's character says, and I don't think this spoils it, but it says, Drew, I'm okay. And the way they say it to me is literally the moral of the entire film, which is like, that character is okay. That's the point. They don't need to do all these different things because they are fine with themselves. If you're not fine with yourself, then you have more work to do. And we're always going to be doing that work. And Pod probably has some demons.
At least we do the work to be accomplished.
Yeah.
We do the work.
We do the work.
That is brilliant. When I watch this again, I'm going to be seeing that a little differently now. Drew, I am fine. And I think you've nailed it, Madison. I think being comfortable in our own skin, having done the work. How do I ask this question without giving it away? Because how Teresa and Drew interact with Paz, a Bertolucci film or a Gaspar Noé film, and if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. They would have handled it. Oh, our job is to do this with it and make it this and make it this kind of, ugh. And your film didn't do that. Your film said, that's not the purpose of this. We're not making, we're not, this isn't Skinamax. We're trying to show, you're not interested in titillation. You're interested in telling a truth, and we don't need to see it. Our imaginative forces can fill in the blank, and they can. But you were more interested in the aftermath of what happens when Paz is welcomed into our characters' lives while on this delayed honeymoon. Is there anything you guys can talk about what that experience? I mean, how did you approach the writing of Paz and to shoot this sequence with that kind of sensitivity? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Madison, feel free to chime in. Well, it's funny because the short that we made right before, which Madison wrote and also starred in, called Yes Daddy, like is half of it is a sex scene. So like we don't shy away from sex. And by the way,
Yeah.
in the trailer, it's spoiled that it's like they have a threesome.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll just couch it in that. I feel I'm very sensitive to unwarranted sex scenes, unwarranted nudity. Like unless it's serving a purpose for the story, it just like gets under my skin. And I also think it's sometimes more powerful not to show, or what you don't show and what you withhold, because the human mind is a powerful thing. So yeah, I think often less is more unless it's very like poignant to or ingrained to the story. And then as for like the introduction to Paz, the character is like partially inspired by my stepdad, who is an expat who lived on that very island for many, many years. And then once we brought Arta G on board, I was like, let's make this character even more Arta. So I think that's something you can do as a micro budget creator, is like, how do I put this even more in the voice of the people who I've cast to make them, pop even more.
Yeah.
Madison, do you want to speak to the experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely have the character of Paz came, I would say 100% from Gigi. Whereas I was more kind of in charge, not in charge, but I was handling Teresa because I was playing her. But so I had more input personally to Teresa's character. But what I will speak to is I do think this was more of an emotionally based story. I think again, Gigi and I have made things that are specifically about sex and the way sex plays out. And our short Yes Daddy is about sex, I would say, but it's about trauma in relation to sex. And it's humorous, but it's also reflecting how those things live in our bodies. To
Mhm.
me, this story, and it can mean something different for everybody. I think to me, this story is more emotional, the emotional inner life of people and how they collide with each other. So that to me is what was prioritized, which I think is great. We're also shooting on a limited schedule, and we're being resourceful with our budget. So I think that we had to prioritize really what felt the most important. So I think like if perhaps we did have another week, it's like, sure, let's delve into like what this whole scene would look like. But I think that we were like the beats that need to be hit to get to the place where the film ends really don't include that scene being shown on camera necessarily. Doesn't mean we couldn't have included it. I'm sure we could have as well, and figured out a way to have that be story based. But I think Gigi was smartly prioritizing what scenes needed to be prioritized. And then to speak to Arta, I would say like Arta's character of Paz, I think all the characters are mirrors to each other, and Arta's like the most fun mirror we get to look in, because as an audience, there's such a relief. Every screening, there's such a relief when Arta's character comes onto the screen, because Drew and Teresa's dynamic is just so tense. So it's just so nice to get this other energy in there who is this full of life, really amazing natural comedic timing. Arta has like such divine comedic timing. It's amazing. And then also poignantly, my favorite line delivery in the entire film is where Paz's character says, and I don't think this spoils it, but it says, Drew, I'm okay. And the way they say it to me is literally the moral of the entire film, which is like, that character is okay. That's the point. They don't need to do all these different things because they are fine with themselves. If you're not fine with yourself, then you have more work to do. And we're always going to be doing that work. And Pod probably has some demons.
At least we do the work to be accomplished.
Yeah, yeah.
We do the work.
We do the work.
That is brilliant. When I watch this again, I'm going to be seeing that a little differently now. Drew, I am fine. And I think you've nailed it, Madison. I think being comfortable in our own skin, having done the work, the thing that doesn't surprise me is that, of course, they would be fine with who they are.
Mhm.
Their character, when they're on screen, they are completely authentic. They have done the work. And in my past, I have met people like this who just I mean, I had a guy on my podcast 4 months ago, good friend of mine from college. He is an Emmy award-winning cinematographer for ESPN Plus. He goes around the world for the World Surf League and films competitions, surf competitions everywhere. But the thing that drew me to him more than anything else, and why we've had a friendship for over 30 years, is the fact that he has done the work. He is comfortable with who he is. And as a result, he just attracts people to him. He's like, he's like a moth. Sorry, he's like a flame and a moth, as it were, but he's like a beacon because we don't often get to have authentic people who are completely comfortable with who they are cross our paths. And when they do, they almost seem like an exotic curiosity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It felt like Teresa and Drew were kind of like, what the heck? I mean, how did they not have all these other Western problems and social media and pressures? And they're just, Paz is living in Panama and comfortable with who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
What a concept.
And that's a choice. That's a choice. They chose to.
Yeah. They made that decision to stay behind. Yeah. Yeah. That's brilliant. Well, as we begin to kind of wind down here, Gigi and Madison, I thought I'd just ask, after having such a successful experience with I Really Love My Husband, and one of the things I didn't highlight and should have, and I apologize, is I didn't mention that your film debuted at South by Southwest, a film festival that is so respected and so revered. I keep asking my wife, is there enough money this year for me to go to South by Southwest? I'd love to go. And there never is, because my youngest, that's all going to gymnastic fees for my youngest. So
that's good dadding. That's good dadding.
Yeah, so priorities. But I intend to get to South by Southwest. It's on the top of my list of film festivals I would love to attend. And I used to live in Austin, Texas, ages ago. And so that's prestigious to have a film debut there. I mean, that's impressive. But having had this wonderful success together, making I Really Love My Husband, any plans for the two of you to ever collaborate again?
Yeah.
Always.
It's hard not to when you just, I think we make a certain type of thing that we really like when we do it together. And good things happen when we collaborate.
I would agree. There's definitely a creative, artistic synergy there, and when it gels, it's evident. It's evident on screen, but just in conversation with both you ladies, it's clearly evident behind the scenes. Your creative processes. You guys are on the same playing field here, and so I really admire that. And for anyone out there that's a creative, an aspiring filmmaker, screenwriter, actor, producer, whatever it is you're trying to do, find your tribe, find your people, and it will make the journey lighter than it might be if you just continue going it alone. When you find your people, and you clearly have. I talk about Orson Welles a little bit. Sometimes I'll talk about him. I'm a former PhD guy, and I was a big theater historian. But Orson Welles, one of the reasons why he was so successful in his 20s with his actors and doing the War of the Worlds thing and all his productions and stuff on Broadway, was because he found a core group of people, and he worked with those people for most of his career. At a young age, he found a core group of people, of creatives, and it made everything possible. And I think that's what the two of you have going on. And I think it's great. I would love, love, love to see what you do next together.
To quote one of my favorite letterbox reviews, I don't know if I can say this, but you can bleep it out if I can.
Okay, no, say it.
She wrote, GG HAWKINS and Madison Lanesey are the cuntiest collaboration ever, never break up queens. And I will be taking that forward into our future collaboration.
You should get that like stitched on a pillow.
Yeah, it really was good. Like, it really hit me. I was like, wow, that is beautiful and inspirational. And I will be taking that into our future. Yeah.
That needs to be a t-shirt. It needs to be a bumper sticker. a Christmas
You
greeting
just
card.
wear the T-shirt in the back says Team Teresa.
Yes.
Team
It's like the
Teresa.
most inner circle inside joke, and we're like, we're selling them for $25.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Etsy.
Well, your film needs merch. I will be in support of any merch that comes down the pike. So
I want merch. I want a shirt that says "We're taking back Mondays." I want one that says "Fine, we'll eat breakfast." It's all breakfast themed. Skip the blue bottle brew at home.
That's me and Matt's most quoted line. We live right by a blue bottle too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gosh, oh my gosh. This has
Life in
been
the heart.
this has been great. Gigi, congratulations on a personal note to your recent marriage. I think that's fantastic. Congratulations. Don't know the groom, but he's obviously a very lucky guy. And congratulations to you guys. Hopefully he doesn't watch I Really Love My Husband and go, is there any of me in here? Is there?
He knows that he is outside of the.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Sadly, my partner can't say the same.
No, he can't. Oh,
I
no.
love it. I
Oh,
adore my
yes.
partner, but yes, he's had to relive some of his like, wait a second. Like, but it only made us stronger.
That's it. That's it. So, yeah, that's it. So sometimes we have to, I mean, you have to apply pressure to build a diamond.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I'll just walk away from that one if my wife kicks me in the face. Not literally, not literally.
We need to get her on this podcast.
Yeah, we do. She works in mental health. She's incredible. I hope yeah, she's incredible. Yeah, she's incredible. I'm going to get emotional here. She's been great. Yeah, she's been great. Her mother was dying a couple years ago of an inoperable brain tumor. My wife stayed the course and got a 4.0 in grad school and finished her master's and juggled internships and kids and her mother passing away, who she was very close to. And my wife is a superhero, and I could live 5 lifetimes and it wouldn't match how amazing she is. So,
What's her name?
Her name is Irene.
Irene.
Yeah, Irene. Yeah, fell in love with her in Hawaii.
Oh, on an island.
Yeah, yeah. So that's another reason. And we both watched I Really Love My Husband together, and we both loved it. Yeah. Shared our first kiss on the beach. I proposed to her on the beach during a Leonid meteor shower. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is a movie.
And then we went.
Madison, you're crying.
I cried a little bit. It's
Thank
so
you.
sweet.
Yeah, we've lived all over. We've lived in England for 6 years, and we lived in Texas for a couple, and now we've been in California, and now we're both getting old. Oh well. But I really, and I very much enjoyed I Really Love My Husband. I love your film. It's out today. If you were listening to this on November 4th, Tuesday, the film is available to purchase right now, video on demand. You can purchase it at Apple TV. You can purchase it at Amazon. It is well worth one of the best indie films I've seen. And it is fantastic, fantastically written, fantastically directed, wonderfully cast. There's a synergy and a chemistry with this cast. And you sense that it is held together by brilliant direction, which Gigi has done. And Madison's performance is the glue for this whole film. And I'm going to brag you up a little bit, Madison, because your character, it challenges the viewer your character is not a smooth ride for us as a viewer to relate to. You make decisions that we go, or I wouldn't have done that. But nevertheless, you brought it home. And the way this film ends is an unconventional ending, and that deserves to be celebrated for the bravery, for its bravery. So I Really Love My Husband. Put it on your list of things to own, things to see, things to recommend. A great film, and I'm done. I'm done with. I just can't. If I keep talking, I'm going to turn into a big bottle of sap.
Ew.
Just gushing praise about it. So
I'm just glad you liked the alien abduction ending.
Yeah. By the way, that is a bit of a spoiler alert, but yes, the alien was well, the cat's out of the bag. So the
Yeah,
alien and Panama government with
the
the government
Panama government
in
alien.
Panama. Yeah, I mean, it goes in kind of a
Nobody
conspiracy.
saw it coming.
No, nobody saw it coming. No, nobody saw that coming. Um, that reminds me of a very funny story. When I came out of watching the first Star Wars prequels when they made them in the late '90s, um, I I went to go see this at a shopping mall with. I was dating my wife at the time, and I brought a friend, and she was annoyed by both of us because we misbehaved, and we basically treated the entire film like an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. We mocked the dialogue, the whole thing. But as we were leaving, we had seen the first screening. It was a matinee performance, and the theater was in a shopping mall in Hawaii. And as we're leaving, there's a big long line, like 500 people waiting to get in. It's before cell phones, and we're walking, and they're clearly waiting to see the greatest movie of the year. And my friend says to me, improvising, is like, "Who knew that Yoda was gay?"
Oh, but honestly,
So, and then I played right along. I go, yeah, I did not see that coming. Puts a whole new spin on "May the Force be with you." And so we just played it. And then my wife was just rolling her eyes. And then I realized, everyone that heard that is going to be watching the film, and they're going to be watching it with a different kind of lens.
Mhm, mhm.
So,
this is really kind of like, I think maybe Yoda is gay though. Like now that you say it, I'm like, wait, Yoda is gay. Or maybe
Definitely.
he's sexual, but
he,
like
Yeah, queer.
he
he's
might be.
not hetero. I mean,
No, he has no intergalactic hookups,
yeah.
no intergalactic prophylactics used.
Yeah.
He
This is
could be.
got me thinking. This has got me thinking.
This is
We're gonna
great.
watch the entire Star Wars franchise with
Yeah.
this.
Let's rewatch it with that lens. I love it. So, GG Hawkins, Madison Lanesey, thank you two so much for being on the Fixate Binge podcast. What a treat it has been talking to both of you creatives.
It's
Thank
been
you.
so great. Thank you. And thank you for your lovely feminist perspectives on Teresa. It's been refreshing.
Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. And Gigi, I wish you the best with continuing to direct. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is your first full length feature film. Is that right?
The first.
Well, you clearly got it. So I'm excited to see the next full feature length. If there's any short films that you're making, I'd like to get an email and know it's out there. I'll be watching you.
I will send you an email. I promise.
Perfect. I'd love to see it. And Madison, whatever you're doing with acting, you're going to continue to do great. Everything about Teresa was lived in and authentic and real. I enjoyed it. I know I've said it umpteen hundred ways today, but thank you so much. A brilliant performance.
Thank you.
As we close, Gigi, my guest, had mentioned a book called Meditations for Mortals: 4 Weeks to Embrace Your Limitations and Make Time for What Counts by Oliver Burkeman. This is a great book that she has recommended about centering ourselves, about, I guess, finding peace and acceptance and pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones and feeling productive. Do I have all that right, Gigi?
Yeah, yeah. But let me tell you, it's not like a traditional self-help book. It's very it's very British. He's British. So.
Okay. Very British. Okay. Well, having lived in England for 6 years,
You'll-
yeah, it's right up my alley. Every purchase comes with Earl Grey tea. So, no, but not, all kidding aside, I think that's a great book for anyone that is taking an active part in their personal mental health. For anyone who is listening to this, if you're struggling to get through your week, look around you. There are help. There are people in your orbit. I'm sure there are. And if there are not, I urge you to have the bravery and the courage to go find those that can help you. There are a lot of people, a lot of groups, a lot of individuals, communities that will be there for you, whether you find them online or whether you find them directly in where you live. I hope you are not too hard on yourself. Life is hard. We all struggle, and it's okay to fall down. That's part of how we grow. As we head into the Christmas holiday seasons, I urge you to make peace with family. If peace is possible, I urge you to make it with them. so that you can break bread with your loved ones without any issues and just have a great holiday season. And I'll leave that with you. And I hope you guys have a great one. I'll see you next week. From me, from Gigi, from Madison, take care. Bye-bye.